How to get longer, fuller, healthier eyelashes. Well, hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my best tips and tricks for longer, healthier eyelashes. Now, eyelashes are a little different in comparison to the hair on the rest of your body. Your eyelashes are anchored in eyelid skin, which is much thinner than the skin on the rest of your body. Furthermore, eyelashes are attached to two notable glands, Zeiss and Mall. Glands of Zeiss release basically sebum, which is a oily material and also may have an antimicrobial role in keeping the eyes healthy. The glands of Mall are a type of gland called an apocrine gland, and they secrete substances onto the lashes that also are likely antimicrobial. Now, normally people have anywhere from 90 to 160 eyelashes on their top lid and anywhere from 75 to 80 lashes on their bottom lid. Just like the hair on the rest of your body, eyelash hair growth follows a cycle of a growing phase, a resting phase, and a shedding phase. The growing phase is called anagen. In contrast to the hair on the rest of your body, anagen is very short for the eyelashes. It typically lasts anywhere from 4 to 10 weeks. For this reason, eyelashes rarely or ever going to grow longer than 12 millimeters. Normal eyelash growth is anywhere between 0.12 and 0.14 millimeters per day. I'm pointing this out because it helps set up realistic expectations that lashes do not grow out all at once overnight. Just like the hair on the rest of your head, it's normal to lose lashes. You typically can expect to lose anywhere from 1 to 5 lashes a day. Normal lash shedding. What are the tips then to get healthier, longer, stronger, fuller lashes? Number one is do not neglect eyelid hygiene. I think sometimes people get a little negligent when it comes to washing the eyelid skin and the lid margin. You can get a collection of dead skin cells, cosmetic residue, as well as that oily material secreted from those glands, sebum, that clogs the follicles and leads to a lot of inflammation and can mess up the lash growth cycle, lead to lash breakage, and reduce lash growth. And it can lead to a full-blown inflammation of the eyelid called blepharitis. You can get an overgrowth of those little lash mites, Demodex, and your body will mount an inflammatory response against that, and you can have a lot of lid irritation that does not bode well for your eyelash growth. Now, how do you maintain proper lid hygiene? It's really, really simple. Just take a very mild facial cleanser that you normally use to wash your face and make sure you gently rub a little bit around the eyelid margin and rinse away in total with lukewarm water. But the important thing is that on a daily basis, you do some mild, gentle lid cleansing. And of course, if you wear makeup, you make sure that you are removing that. And I'll give some tips later that will help with the lash growth process. Tip number 2 is make sure any associated health problems, underlying skin conditions are addressed. There are a lot of different medical conditions and skin problems that can be associated with and or causative of poor lash growth and lash breakage, loss of the lashes. For example, there is an autoimmune attack against the hair follicle called alopecia areata. I have a whole video on this topic, and you'll recall from that video that it can affect the eyelashes for some people. The tips and tricks I'm giving you in this video are not going to help you out in terms of lash growth if that's what's going on for you. If you weren't aware, rosacea can and often does impact the eyes. Patients with rosacea often are at risk for developing a blepharitis related to their rosacea, and that of course can lead to lash breakage and poor lash growth. So make sure you are seeing your dermatologist for treatments of your rosacea, and check out some of my videos on rosacea. I give tips and tricks, things to avoid that are common triggers for rosacea, and skincare product recommendations in those videos. Now, there are also medical conditions like hypothyroidism that can slow down the rate of hair growth, and that also can impact your lashes. Many people cope with seasonal allergies. You know, it's springtime. Right now, the pollen count is so high where I live. You go outside and everything is coated with this film of yellow. So it is prime time for everybody to be sniffling, sneezing, and rubbing their eyes. And that chronic rubbing can lead to breakage and impair the lash growth. I mean, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you just imagine the anatomy of your little eyelash anchored there, it's very close to the surface because of how thin the eyelid skin is. So you can imagine that that rubbing is very annoying to the cells trying to grow the lashes and can mess things up for you. Now, when I talk about hair loss in a lot of my videos, I'm always going to bring to your attention a common type of hair loss process, actually, that is hair shedding, and it's called telogen effluvium. It typically occurs about 3 months after you have undergone some sort of stressful event, whether that be psychological, emotional stress, or maybe you had a fever, you underwent a surgery, you were in a car accident, you had a viral infection, you lost a bunch of weight. That is a common trigger. It's called telogen effluvium. You get all this hair shedding. And once that problem is controlled, you know, the hair growth will go back to normal. It also can lead to loss of more eyelashes. So remember at the beginning of the video, I said it was perfectly normal to lose about 1 to 5 lashes a day. If you're seeing a lot of lashes come out, it could be related to a telogen effluvium. Along those lines of stressful things to the body is dealing with any sort of nutritional deficiency. Does not bode well for your hair, including the lashes. So prioritizing your health and addressing any underlying health conditions that may be contributory is of course key. Otherwise, everything else I'm talking about in this video is irrelevant to you if those things are active, flaring, and leading to a lash loss and breakage. Now, a lot of what leads to poor lash growth and lash breakage and brittle lashes in the realm of things we can control is as it relates to, well, eyelash cosmetics. You need to put the lash curler down. I know this is an unpopular recommendation because a lot of people, they struggle with lashes that are more downturned, and it actually can be irritating to the eye. So I understand that. But if that's not the case for you, seriously consider putting the lash curler down. It's very hard on the lashes to use a lash curler. Also, it can cause direct lash breakage as well as slowing the lash growth cycle down. But another bugaboo that could be even more of an issue for you and is worth looking into is a lot of lash curlers are metal, and within that metal is nickel, a very common allergen. If you have an allergy to nickel, which is quite common, and you are using a lash curler with nickel in it, well, your eyelid skin is definitely not going to like that. It can definitely cause irritation for you and contribute to the loss of the lashes. So at any rate, consider investigating what sort of lash curler you are using and maybe find one that is plastic, that doesn't have nickel in it. Take a break from, avoid, do not use lash enhancements, whether that be false lashes that you glue on with an adhesive, or professional lash enhancements that you have installed, so to speak, aka lash extensions. These are, you know, a cosmetic trend. A lot of people enjoy them, have no issue with them, but they can often be problematic, not just for lash growth, but causing irritation to the eyelids. Whether it be developing an allergy or irritation to the adhesives, or just the weight of the lash, the false lash on your lash, all of those things can really slow down lash growth and lead to breakage. Furthermore, lash enhancements, they can mess up the coating, the outflow of the secretions from those glands that are associated with the lashes, leading to a buildup at the base of the lash, along with dead skin cells, that contributes to a blepharitis. And all of these things not only can lead to poor lash growth and lash breakage, but also can be contributory to dry eye syndrome, which is very common. So that would be another thing to avoid, to step away from if you want to get serious about growing out your lashes. All right, the other lash modification that you may want to take a break from is a lash lift. Now, this is kind of the equivalent of perming the lashes. You go to a professional trained in how to do this. Don't do it at home, okay? I don't recommend trying to do it at home because you can get this stuff in your eye and cause all kinds of problems. They basically put something on your lashes that messes up the disulfide bonds in such a way to, well, curl and lift the lashes so that they are lifted and you don't have to use a lash curler. I definitely see the appeal of this, and it does look very nice. But it is likely that the compounds that they're using to do that, because they weaken the bonds in the hair, well, that may likely contribute to lash breakage. So that's another thing to reconsider, to reassess. Now, I already talked about the importance of eyelid hygiene, cleansing the lids on a regular basis. If you wear mascara, I recommend considering using an oil-based cleanser, a cleansing oil, cleansing balm, to dissolve the mascara from your lashes, as opposed to something more water-based. Why? Well, there's actually a paper that looked at people who wear mascara. It suggested that, at least in the case of waterproof mascara, an oil-based cleanser might be a better option in terms of lash loss. And I personally, my personal anecdote, okay, this is not research backed, I don't have any citation for this. My personal anecdote as someone who wears mascara, not waterproof, but just regular non-waterproof mascara every single day, I have found that since I started using an oil cleanser to dissolve the mascara before getting in the shower and doing my basic lid hygiene, I have found that my lashes have grown much longer, fuller, and healthier, as opposed to using an eye makeup remover that is water-based. That has just been my personal anecdotal experience, something I suggest people give a try. No, the oil cleansers are not going to clog the glands in the eye because they're going to rinse off. I believe not only is it better in terms of efficiently dissolving the makeup without necessitating rubbing, but I think it also helps with conditioning the lash, cutting down on breakage further. Topic number 7, as it relates to this, is are there any supplements that can help with lash growth? Long story short, no. There are no research-backed dietary supplements for lash growth. Now, many supplements have been investigated for hair growth on the scalp and different hair growth disorders, hair loss disorders, I should say, with varying amounts of evidence behind them. And so some of those supplements, you know, you might try and extrapolate to the lashes. Just keep in mind, lash growth is a little bit different in comparison to the growth of hair on your head. And the processes that some of these supplements may or may not be addressing for hair on the scalp, hair loss, may not be going on with the lashes. Some supplements can have side effects, and you know, if you have a true nutrient deficiency, such as a zinc deficiency, which is pretty rare, I will say, then it makes sense, you know, a supplement is going to make a difference. But in the absence of a confirmed deficiency, I say don't waste your time, money, efforts on supplements for lash growth. All right, let's talk about lash growth serums, because this is really what people want to know about. This is what people want to put their money down on, is a lash growth serum. And trust me, you can turn on any social media app of your choosing and find 100 influencers within the span of 7 seconds who will gladly sell you an over-the-counter lash serum, claim up and down throughout the town that it grew out their lashes. While that may be true, I want to issue a word of warning regarding lash growth serums that you can buy without a prescription. Many of them contain compounds in them which are very similar to the active ingredient in the prescription lash growth medication Latisse. That's called bimatoprost. It is a prostaglandin analog. Definitely can help with increasing the duration of the growing phase of the lashes, giving you longer, fuller lashes. However, bimatoprost has several associated side effects. It is a prescription, so it's prescribed to you, and your doctor follows and monitors for side effects. These include, well, eyelid irritation, also hyperpigmentation around the eyes, change of the color of your eyes, and rare reports of orbital fat loss, a sunken eye. That appears to be reversible, but it's something to keep in mind. Now, you might say, well, what about the stuff that we buy without a prescription? Some of these same side effects can occur with a lot of these lash growth serums because they have compounds in them that are very similar in how they work to bimatoprost. Bimatoprost is just an FDA-approved drug, but these cosmetic ingredients act the same way that drug does. So keep that in mind. I do not recommend those for that reason. I don't feel comfortable putting my stamp of approval on something that could potentially lead to orbital fat loss, changing the color of your eye, hyperpigmentation around the eye irritation. I just don't feel comfortable. So those aside. That being said, you will also find lash growth serums out there that do not contain these compounds. Now, what they have instead are cosmetic ingredients that may condition the lashes to cut down on breakage. For example, The Ordinary has a Lash and Brow serum that isn't even marketed for growth. It is marketed for, improving the look of fullness, I think is the language that they use. So good on them for not, trying to mislead consumers. But a lot of the non-prostaglandin analog enhanced lash growth serums are primarily acting as things that condition the lashes, which can be good, but keep in mind that things that you put on the lashes, no matter the ingredients, can eventually be irritating, or you can become allergic to something in them. Eyelid skin, delicate, sensitive, more prone to irritation. So it's a bit of a lottery. Is it actually gonna help? Or is it gonna end up worsening things for you in the long run because you developed an irritation to it? So just keep that in mind. I mean, that goes with anything you put on your skin, but especially around the eyes, okay? What are prostaglandin analog names that we should be looking out for? I will put a list of them in the description box so you know what those ingredients are, because they have many of them have long, complicated names. Speaking of lash growth serums, I know inevitably I'm going to get a question about this, so I want to address it. What about castor oil for lash growth? Now, castor oil is even more popular today than it was 6 or 7 years ago, and it's always had a strong, loyal following. I mean, people are using castor oil, putting it on their belly button, claiming, to cure heart disease. I mean, you're seeing some wild claims on the internet right now with regards to castor oil. And I've got videos on castor oil, okay? I break down some of the science behind some of these claims, or lack thereof in some situations. But all that to say, putting castor oil on the lashes. All right, it's very viscous, it's very conditioning, so it definitely can help in cutting down on lash breakage. Be aware, it's possible to become allergic to castor oil, okay? It has compounds in it that are relatively common allergens. But by and large, it's a relatively safe thing to use. It makes sense that people see improvement in their lash health because it may cut down on breakage. Just know there's no evidence to show that castor oil impacts the lash growth cycle to truly grow the lashes. It may just help by conditioning and cutting down on breakage. So that's what I'll say about castor oil. Last but not least, and this is really important for a lot of you, trichotillomania, which basically is a condition people struggle with, where they pull out hair. It can be on the head, the eyebrows, the lashes, body hair. Some people do this without realizing they're doing it, especially the lashes. It's like a nervous habit. Some people are more aware that they do it. A lot of children actually go through a phase where they do this and they grow out of it, but in teens and adults, it tends to be more of something that is triggered by stress, or comes along with maybe having an underlying anxiety disorder or some other mental health struggle that you're coping with. No shame in it. It's actually pretty common, okay? So a lot of people do this on some level. There are a few approaches. There's something called habit reversal training. It's a special type of therapy that can be very helpful. And there's a technique wherein first you spend a lot of time increasing your awareness of what it is that triggers you to do this. That may involve keeping a journal. For example, you may find that every Tuesday and Thursday when you have a meeting with your boss, you really start doing that because you're stressed out and nervous. Well, hello, you have now figured out a trigger. Once you identify triggers and things, time periods where you are clearly doing it, then you can start to develop a strategy to not do it. And that can be twofold. Make it more challenging to do it. And while I said at the beginning of the video not to wear false eyelashes, in this case, they might actually help because they get in the way of you pulling at your actual lashes. So they may actually kind of shield to a certain extent, although be aware of the fact that you can still have problems with the adhesives and things of that sort. Maybe start wearing glasses. If you don't need glasses like prescription glasses, they sell glasses that are like faux glasses, you know, just clear plastic inside the lens, you know, no true lens. Try doing that. You know, that might help just get in the way of your fingers. Or consider wearing gloves. And then the other thing is figure out something that you can do in lieu of that with your hands. I'm a big fan of those little stress balls. Squeeze on that. Keep your hands occupied with a craft, a hobby, something of this sort. This type of thing affects everyone differently. So you may need more involved therapy. You know, it may be something much more involved for you. Sometimes prescription medications may be needed. Also, your doctor may recommend that you take the supplement N-acetylcysteine. That actually has been shown, at least in the case of trichotillomania on the scalp, to help. It's never actually been studied for people who pull their eyelashes, but it may help as well. Okay, so talk to your doctor about N-acetylcysteine. All right, y'all, so those are my 10 tips to growing out your lashes. But let me know in the comments if you would like for me to review the Ordinary Brow and Lash Serum. Be happy to do that for an upcoming video. Now, recently I did a video similar to this, but instead of lashes, it was my best tips for growing out your nails. So if that is of interest to you, it's going to be on the end slate. Watch it next. But if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.